Hi Insta family. I just had to restart this video because I had a weird connection happening, but I'm back. Who am I? I'm Rose Candela, and this is your studio diary, your live view at my studio and my studio practice and my life practice. I am a visual artist, but today, today I'm talking about time management. I'm gonna get situated in my seat so I'm comfortable, and I had some notes, but I'm just gonna go ahead and free talk. Is that a thing? How y'all doing today? It's Monday. I usually do these studio diaries on Wednesdays, but today I'm coming on here and because Wednesday I'm busy. And last week I didn't do the studio diary, so it's a little bit of a special edition. Time management is my theme for today. And as I was stepping into this topic, which is a really big topic, I realized how much of my life I have, or my career life, I'm not going to go all the way back to childhood, but my career life, so for the past 17, 18 years, I've worked with people's time and I've worked with schedules, and it's kind of been my thing. And until recently, until basically today, I haven't taken the stance of being an authority on time management. And there's a few reasons for that. Sometimes life just unfolds how it needs to, and here I am, right? This is the right time for me to start talking about this. But also I feel like time management is a term that really feels like businessy, a little uber masculine, a little bit corporate, a little bit like it's something to manage, that time is something to manage. And I haven't felt comfortable quite with saying that, but I feel comfortable with it now because I think that as agents of our own lives, that we manage the things that are important to us and the things that dictate and kind of become what we live under. And so management feels comfortable to say today. But also time is a relationship. So I want to talk about time management because it's the number one thing that when I have one-on-one sessions is kind of the theme, the overall foundation to why I do that work, even though nobody's necessarily like, I need time management. The number one thing that my clients need is reassurance and remembrance that their timeline is theirs, right? That the timeline that you exist on belongs to you, and that the comparative thing that we do in our culture around time, around, well, I'm 35, I should have this, that, or I can't find time to do my creative practice, what's wrong with me? All of that is like the thing that we work with in order to take ownership of time in your life and the timeline of your life. So today I want to talk about what it looks like to have a creative practice and also probably manage time through that. One of the big things that I know for my life right now is that I'm a mother to a almost 4-year-old. He'll be 4 in a couple months. And I've been the primary parent, meaning that my husband is a professional musician. So his work life is the schedule is a little all over the place every week, different times of different work and all this. And I've been the primary parent to our son, meaning that he's with me the majority of the time. My schedule has been around his life right now, and I've still maintained some sanity. I would say like a pretty consistent sanity around the life of a young child and also the life of a freelance schedule, right? A lot of you probably relate to this. and I've maintained also a studio practice. So one of the things that I used to do before becoming a mother was helping artists to plan stuff in their life, and in this like big overall way. And one of the biggest things that comes up in those conversations, and this might be like the first thing that I want to share with you about time management, is that you have to understand what it's like for you in your life to be productive. Meaning you may swirl around in chaos of like, oh, but I need to do this or have this many pieces done by this time, and it feels overwhelming, right? Usually overwhelm is what is like the foundation of then seeking support and help. And that first principle of like figuring out what it is for you is really coming into understanding your body's chemistry, your nervous system, your rhythms, what works for you, what doesn't. And then within that, what is your goal, right? What are you trying to get to? Are you trying to be a gallery artist? Are you trying to do your artwork and live and enjoy your life? Are you trying to be professional and working towards that point, right? There's all these like facets of goals, but if you don't take that chaotic, if you ignore that chaotic feeling and just then try to do something from it, then that ends up being the spiral of like soon burning out, because you're just often what happens is that you're filling in to someone else's shoes or someone else's formula. So that's some of the work that I do, right, with time management consulting and time, like talking about time management, is really like getting comfortable with who you are. And you know, I think we can all admit and know this, that the way that we exist, the way that we experience life and see the world is unique to you. Like there's universal stuff, but this is data, science-based information that the cornea of your eye is as unique as your fingerprint. So like the way that we see the world and experience the world is unique, right? It's to you. So there's no way that you're going to be creating and managing time like anybody else. And I guess the second tenet that I want to cover today, and I'll probably do way more series on this, is being with the knowing that yes, there's chronological time, meaning like 8 p.m. turns into 9 p.m. to 10 p.m., right? We all have this understanding now in our culture of this linear time, but how can you within your life feel that expansiveness and trust that when you're starting a project, that you've been given this project or that you've been given this task because time is on your side, right? That's the relational aspect that I think that gets very victim-y, and we bully time, right? I heard the late John O'Donohue, talk about this with an interview with Krista Tippett on the podcast On Being, where like time, we just suffer because of time in our culture, and it's a real sadness, right? And so my work is to help you feel this sense that it's gonna be okay, as well as keeping it real, that you've got 24 hours in a day. So what are you gonna do to prioritize what you, based on your unique DNA and in your life, and your lifestyle need? Again, I bring up my lifestyle because it's different than most people I know. And then if I were to talk to someone else, they would say it's different than so-and-so, right? My schedule of primary parenthood, primary parenting, and my husband's schedule of being a professional musician has made us have to be a little bit flexible and also really clear on how time is gonna play out for us, right? How time is gonna feel good for us as a family. And so that, again, I just bring that up because you have that in your life too. You have the knowing of what's unique for your life and for your schedule, and it's just getting clear about what that is. getting out of the comparisonitis. So I want to talk about two pieces of art that I have behind me. The tripod's, well, this is the camera won't really show both of the pieces, but they're two pieces that are mine. Okay, I'm gonna try to pan over to this one. This is the piece that I told you guys that I was gonna be busting out the archives. This piece I did in 2009. Doing the math, that's 11 years ago. And you'll be able to see from the image that there's a lot of detail, a lot of line work in it. And this was a piece that I did at a time when I was working in college administration. So my job was an 8 to 5 thing. Don't believe when people say 9 to 5. That doesn't exist anymore, in my opinion. I think most people work 8 to 5 because you can't be paid to eat lunch. Anyways, so I was single. I would come home and listen to a podcast and make this work. Like I had no other responsibility other than just taking care of, getting to work the next day. And so I was able to do these pieces and build on pieces and have them out, right? Like no one else was using my office in my studio apartment. So that is a piece that I created. I probably spent like 8 hours on it. I don't know. I never really took track of it. But I'm sharing that with you because it's a really intricate piece and it took a lot of time, so to speak, for some art. And I'm going to share this other piece with you that I just did this year. 2019, so 10-year difference between the two pieces. And I probably spent maybe an hour on it. It has a lot more flow, a lot more liquid, a lot more color, a lot more chance. Like I would put down the color, walk away for a couple days. And it has some rendered landscape there. So there's some detail. But the reason I'm showing these two pieces side by side and talking about the amount of time it took me, an hour versus 8 or something, is I would sell these pieces for exactly the same amount. Because I don't think that we should feel like, oh, I only spent this amount of time and therefore this isn't worth this much. Or I worked really hard and, spent a full day of work there, and that should be more, because what you bring, so this is maybe my third tenet of about time right now, is you have to establish that value for who you are and what you're doing and the worth of what you're sharing in the world because you're present, not because you spent a grueling amount of time doing something. I really believe that, particularly in the later years of your life. I think that I think in our 20s it's okay to be like, oh, I spent an hour on this, here's my billing for 1 hour of work, right? But there's so much conversation in, particularly I hear in the art world, but I know in the consulting world, I know in the content making world, in the coaching world too. It's like, well, I haven't spent a lot of time doing this. Why should I charge $150 an hour or whatever? But you are bringing all of you to that experience, and that's worth it, right? So that's how we start to really shift time, I think, too. It's assessing the value because you're present and you've been, doing things in all the minutes that you're not actually being billed for that have created the things that you're sharing in the world. So that is why I'm sharing these two pieces today. I'm not doing any art today because my office isn't set up for that. But as I talk about time management, that's another part of it, right? Having things set up so that we can then feel free to create as we need to. I will leave all this here. Celeste, thank you for joining. And this will be live for a little bit if you want to go back and hear more about, time management, and how we can take that and live there and live with ownership of this relationship to such a huge thing in our life, right? I will catch you all soon. Hope you have a beautiful day. Bye.